sex and power. Statistically, men tend to be stronger than women, and many men are encouraged to physically fight for what they want. There is a sense of entitlement that pervades our society, all the way up to a president who has stated he could grab women wherever and whenever, and who recently gave the Medal of Freedom to a man who said, "I love the women's movement, especially from behind." That man also said what feminism sought to do, when you get right down to it, feminism was brought to us by a bunch of angry women whose major grievance and beef was with human nature and God. And they sought to reverse, undo, change, whatever, basic human nature and the things we are born with. That's Rush Limbaugh. The idea being that since men are bigger and stronger, that they have the inherent right to bully those who are weaker. And this idea, in part, comes from the Bible in Genesis 2 and 3. Woman is created as an afterthought, formed from the rib of man, to be his helper. And after she gets blamed for causing the downfall of humanity, God curses her, saying, "Your desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over you." But luckily, the Bible contradicts itself, and we are not bound to take it word for word at every place. And we can choose more open passages, such as Genesis 1, that suggests a different power relationship between men and women. It reads, "Then God said, let us make humankind in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over the wild animals of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So the Bible also has trouble with pronouns. But the idea that here is that God self contains both the masculine and the feminine, and that humanity was created to have a partnership to share power.
I was raised in a female-headed household. I was not taught to fear men. Men had no authority over me. I listened to my mother and my grandmother. Now, the south side of Chicago is a dangerous place, obviously. But I remember an incident it's kind of dangerous when I was around 9 years old, and I learned that danger sometimes comes in disguise. At 9 years old, I was almost at my adult height. I looked more like a woman than a little girl. And I ran into a man on the street. He had a puppy, and I have always loved dogs, always. He told me that he could teach me how to train dogs, and I was lured in. I willingly followed him into a courtyard. And he told me to stand there. He had the dog in front of us. And he told me stand there, and I was focused on the dog. And he got behind me, crouched down, and then he touched my leg. And I knew he shouldn't be doing that. And as soon as I felt him do that, I turned around and I pushed him. And because he was off balance, he fell. And then I ran. I got away from him. So I learned that as I grew older, these incidents would happen. I would get cat calls. I've always been a big girl. I would get cat calls. And I would get unwanted touching and threats. And I learned that I had to defend my own integrity. I had to learn to have control over my own body and my own autonomy over my own self. I had to learn that men did not define my worth. I did. She walks in the daytime. She walks at night. She walks in the daytime. She walks at night. He's always there. He's always there. He's always there. Back in the shadow, here I am. Back of her mind. Back in the shadows, thinking about you. Back of her mind. He's always there. He's always there. He's always there. Why can't a woman enjoy the nighttime, love the dark without a care? She's always looking over her shoulder, hoping and praying there's nobody there. She may be my sister. Oh, yeah. She may be my mom. She may be my sister. She may be my mom. But he ain't a friend. He ain't a friend. He ain't a friend. She feels his fingers. I can touch you. She feels his eyes with my mind. She feels his fingers. I can undress you. She feels his eyes just by looking. He's by her side, inside, outside. He's by her side. Why can't a woman enjoy the nighttime? It's getting harder to enjoy the day. She's always looking over her shoulder, hoping and praying to get away. They always say, what do they say? Boys will be boys. They always say,
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. And that is how the raping game begins. Don't surrender. Don't live in fear. Don't let the lurker rape your mind. Don't let him win. Don't let him win. Don't let him win. him win. Don't let 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 him win.
Post-traumatic stress disorder and abuse. Most abusers have themselves been abused. They are raised or exposed to physical or emotional violence. Boys are told over and over again to prove that they are a man. Girls are told to smile and be agreeable. They are never supposed to show anger, while anger is the only emotion boys are allowed to share. Never show fear, never shed a tear. And violence gets mixed up with love. Children are beaten and told that it's for their own good. Spare the rod and spoil the child. A country song written by Holly Dunn and made popular by the Judds says, Daddy's hands were soft and kind when I was crying. Daddy's hands were hard as steel when I'd done wrong. Daddy's hands weren't always gentle, but I came to understand there was always love in Daddy's hands. Even when Daddy was beating me. And the thing is that is a beautiful song. If you get a chance to hear it, it's a beautiful. I like the song, but it carries this message that violence is one of the ways you show love. And that's where it gets into our psyche. There's a cycle of violence. It's almost imperceptible in the victim and the abuser because they are reacting to former traumas and lessons they've learned from past relationships. Step one, the tension builds. Because they've learned that it's dangerous to express their feelings, things kind of come out sideways. They keep quiet when problems are small. The communications are indirect. There's maybe some teasing insult here or there. But the problem grows until step two. Explosion. Violence or some other type of abuse, which is almost always followed by step three. Repentance and the honeymoon. The abuser apologizes for losing control. The victim apologizes for making them lose control. Forgiveness is granted only on a desperate promise of change. Everything is perfect, so they pretend until the process begins again. Unless someone has the courage to break out of the cycle, to face up to their own issues, and not rely on their partner to make things better, only then can things change.
This next song is difficult to listen to. On one level, it is about a woman who wins the battle with her husband. On another level, she's still trapped in the cycle of violence. In what way has your life left you with battle fatigue? How does that affect your current relationships? Look at the lady stand at the bus stop, cracking her fingers, wanting affection. She had a husband. She didn't need him. She couldn't feed him. He ate too much. He'd go out drinking and come home stinking. He tried to kill her. She killed him first. Her husband haunts her. She is still screaming. Nights are still torture. Nobody cares. She was arrested. She went to prison. She got out quickly for good behavior. When she meets new men, she's hiding from them because they start running when they find out. Her husband haunts her. She is still screaming. Nights are still torture. Nobody cares. She has no children. Someday she wants to. Men won't come near her. She's scared when they do. She rides the buses looking for someone who will be tender and take her home. Her husband haunts her. She is still screaming. Nights are still torture. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
An abuser often feels that they are defending themselves against some wrong that threatens their self-esteem. And the abused often feel that they are tough enough to take it. In fact, the fact that they are so forgiving can make them feel good about themselves. And whether the perpetrator is male or female, whether the couple is heterosexual or a same-sex couple, the dynamic remains the same. Two broken people trying to fix each other. The blind leading the blind. All of us are broken in some way. And we all need help to become whole. But we cannot wait for a hero to save us, to do our work for us. And a hero can only save someone who wants to be saved. Some lessons can be taught, and others are learned the hard way.
I think every older woman, given the chance, would tell their younger self, get out of a bad relationship early. When one stays in a bad relationship, it becomes easier to stay. You wake up thinking that today something will change. Dr. Phil irritates me. But I did hear him say something once that made me change. He said, if you do not make a change today, in 5 years, this is exactly what your life will be. Think about that. Think about that. He said, if you don't make that change today, this is where you will be in 5 years. Imagine being exactly in the same situation. Is this where you want to be? Is this the way you want your life to be? And change is scary as hell. It is. You know, often you have to throw away some of the good along with the bad. What can you keep? What do you have to let go of? What can you afford to leave behind? Where do you go, and how do you get there? There is help, and others have figured out ways to do that. We have included some information in your orders of service. Take a look at that. And if you don't need that information for yourself, then please pass it on to someone you know who can use it, who might need it. Get away from that man, Amanda. Get away from that man, Amanda. Take it from a friend who understands. You don't need to take that from a man. 18 years old, you're too young to know what you really wanted. He was the best you ever had, everything a boyfriend should be. How were you to know things would turn out bad? He treated you like property. Get away from that man, Amanda. Get away from that man, Amanda. Take it from a friend who understands. You don't need to take that from a man. 19 years old, a baby on the way, and he refuses to marry. He was weak, wanting control, forcing you to doubt yourself, telling you to sleep, pregnant on the couch, so he could sleep with someone else. Get away from that man, Amanda. Get away from that man, Amanda. Take it from a friend who understands. You don't have to take that from a man. He abuses drink, he abuses smoke, and he abuses you. You try to love him, he calls you a failure. What are you supposed to do? 20 years old, your baby learns to walk. You should do some walking too. Get away from that man, Amanda. Get away from that man, Amanda. Take it from a friend who understands. You don't need to take that from a man. You don't have to take that from a man. Amanda, get away from that man.
Both the Old and the New Testament recommend that you love your neighbor as yourself. And these passages assume that everyone loves themselves. But that's not always true. The abuser is selfish, but does not truly love themselves. They need someone else to praise them, to make them feel big. They cannot withstand any criticism. They have to defend against the hollowness and the shame they feel inside. And the abused can convince themselves that they have a self-sacrificing love. If I deny myself, I can fix the other person. But if you deny yourself, pretty soon you have no self to give. If you don't begin with loving yourself, if you think you have nothing worth giving, it doesn't matter if you give it all away. We cannot truly love another unless we love ourselves. Until then, we are dependent on others to prove that we are lovable. Each person must recognize their inherent worth and dignity, and then they are free to enter an interdependent relationship based on mutual respect. Don't act superior or inferior. We're all the same. Free to start loving without power games. Sisters and brothers, care for each other and give each the freedom to stand on their own. Watch me stand, watch me face the wind. Watch me accomplish what I begin. Watch me keep trying even when I'm scared. Watch me be whatever I dare. I've been living ever since I was born, and I wasn't born yesterday. Sometimes life leaves me weary and torn, but I'm not gonna run away. I'm not your puppet held up by your strings. Take a step back, you're crowding my wings. Watch me stand, watch me face the wind. Watch me accomplish what I begin. Watch me keep trying even when I'm scared. Watch me be whatever I dare. I know I need people, but not as a crutch to build my self-esteem. Sometimes I find myself limping too much when you step on my dream. I prefer not to be pushed around, and I refuse to push anyone down. Watch me stand, watch me face the wind. Watch me accomplish what I begin. Watch me keep trying even when I'm scared. Watch me be whatever I dare. Don't act superior, we're all the same. Free to start living without power games. Sisters and brothers, care for each other, but give each the freedom to say. Watch me stand, watch me face the wind. Watch me accomplish what I begin. Watch me keep trying even when I'm scared. Watch me be whatever I dare. Watch me be whatever I dare. I know some of you have had experiences, and I'm not asking anybody to share anything that they can't share in public. But I think some of you have found strength, and I think if you're able or willing to tell others that you have found strength and let others in the congregation know that they have an ally that they can talk to, I'd be really happy to hear from any of you at this time.
Good morning, I'm Joe Guilfoyle, and I am a survivor, and I am a person who works with many who have been hurt and assaulted. The work is the healing, and the very voice that you have within you is the way out. And the way to find peace, if you can, to believe that you are not less than what you feel, and that those feelings that might hold you back are just thoughts and feelings of something that's hard to let go of. So I'm here if I can be an ear. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
I know we have psychologists and social workers in here and now an expert. I'm wondering what you do when you see a situation that you're pretty darn sure those black eyes are not from bumping up against a